Okay, we're going to talk about state verbs and dynamic verbs. Now, the most popular or common kind of verb in English is called a dynamic verb. And a dynamic verb is an action that you can see. If somebody does this action, you can see it. Uh, this is important because dynamic verbs can be used in all tenses in English, including continuous tenses. So right now, Mark is speaking. Mark is making a video. Mark is looking at the camera. You can see these actions. So that means you can say these actions in the continuous if they're happening now. Now this is important because we have another kind of verb called a state verb. Now state verbs are verbs, they're actions you can't see. So that means you can't use these verbs in the continuous. Okay, on the website I've given you a list of the most common state verbs. Now finally we have mixed verbs. Now mixed verbs are these special state verbs that have a different meaning. Okay, so I'm not going to read all the examples, but I'll give you a couple examples. Example have. Now, have is a state verb if your meaning is possession. Okay, so example, I have a brother. Right now, I have a brother, but you can't see this. So you can't say, Mark is having a brother. But a different meaning of have, now there are many meanings. If a different meaning, not possession, example, I am having a good time. I am having a good time. And if I'm having a good time, you can probably see this. Maybe I'm smiling, maybe I'm laughing, maybe I'm talking to many people and making jokes. You can see this. So I am having a good time doesn't mean possession. It means I'm experiencing. So this is a different meaning of have. So you can say the continuous if this is your meaning. Another example is the verb think. And if you are talking about your opinion, example, I think hockey is a really cool game. Well, you don't say, I am thinking to talk about your opinion. But a different meaning of think is when somebody's doing this. And you can, if you look at me, you can understand, what am I doing? You can understand, you can look at Mark and say, oh, he's thinking. Now you're not talking about Mark's opinion. You're just talking about Mark's action that you can see. So if this is your meaning, you can say, Mark is thinking. But if you're talking about Mark's opinion, don't say Mark is thinking. You say Mark thinks. So mixed verbs are some special state verbs that have a dynamic verb meaning.